Welcome back to Gold Derby. I'm Christopher Rosen. I'm joined by Joyce Ng. Joyce, it happened. The Emmys are in 2023, will be in 2024.
2023 parentheses 2024 edition.
It's wonderful. What a choice.
Just truly remarkable planning here.
Since we last
I mean, we knew it was going to happen. We didn't want it to happen.
No.
We said what should have happened. Keep it in the year of our Lord 2023, and they did not do that.
The 2023 Emmys will take place on January 15th, 2024, Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah.
The day after the Critics' Choice Awards.
And 8 days after the Golden Globes, which still don't have a home.
They have no home, but they have a date.
They have a date. They stake their claim. First Sunday of the year.
I have many notes on this choice for the Emmys. We talked about this a lot and how it would have been a really not a great move. I know they cited the strike, and obviously you can't have it in September if the strikes are still going on. But by all accounts, I think November would have been a pretty safe bet. And they probably could have easily done it on a weekday in November before, like you said, any of the other awards announce their nominations and keep it nice and condensed into 2023 since it's the 2022-23 season. But no, not going to do that.
They could have done it at any. I mean, I feel like they should have done it before the Globes and Critics' Choice announced their nominations in December.
It definitely feels like a decision made by a television. Fox. Yeah, the decision made by television executives and not people who actually consider what the awards kind of mean.
Well, reportedly the TV Academy was lobbying for the November date, as they should have been.
It just is not. I mean,
but the network, the broadcast partner, has the final say.
It doesn't mean a whole lot from the result standpoint. Voting is happening. It starts tomorrow, Joyce, right? Is that right?
It starts, yes, Thursday, August 17th. We're recording on Wednesday, the 16th.
So if you're watching this, it's happening right now. You can vote for the Emmys if you're an Emmy voter, and those votes will then be locked away in an underground vault
for 5 months.
And then the results will be read in January on January 15th. So it doesn't really mean anything in terms of campaigning or voting, but it just does feel a little like my sense of this is sometimes things just have to happen when they're supposed to happen. Otherwise, it just gets stale. And
well, yeah, it just makes no sense to have it then. Like, as we've mentioned many times before, Jeremy Allen White is going to win 2 awards for season 2 of The Bear. And now he's going to win the Emmy for season 1 of The Bear after that.
And then also he would win 2 Emmys in 1 year because they're not going to change the 2024.
No, like that's still normal for now.
So there'll be 2 Emmy ceremonies in 2024. And 2, I mean, I just, the whole thing it's just a cascading. It's like a dominoes of bad ideas to me.
Yeah. And I've seen the defense of the January date being like, or like Fox's argument for it, besides like football and whatever, even though that's wildcard weekend, so it'll probably be opposite a wildcard game anyway. But
yes,
yeah. Anyway, the defense of them, looking at January was that they, we don't know when these strikes will end. There's like some resumption of talks, but like not really. Now there's, like the studios have like a PR firm, so there are like nice leaks, but then they've been debunked by the writers and all that. But so like they don't want to schedule or like redate it to a closer date, like in the fall, only to have to move it again, because that's also what happened in 2001, because it was obviously initially postponed because of 9/11. And then the first new date was October 7th, but then the war in Afghanistan started. So then it was moved to November. And so that happened in November. So I think they want to avoid that. But I don't think those 2 situations are the same at all. Because like what happened in 2001 was completely unforeseen, right? Like here, like obviously we don't know when the strikes will end. And it might go past November, they might not be over by November, but like I feel like, at a certain point, you just have to decide that like, oh, like we can't pull off like, or realize you can't pull off a normal ceremony like we want to. So, we have to make adjustments, and maybe we just have to do a press conference like the Globes did.
I don't even think that. I was thinking more like, again, I'm not a television executive nor producer, so I'm not going to speak like I know what I'm talking about here. But I was like, if you do it in November, there's got to be a dual track kind of. It gives you way more time. That gives you an addition. Now it's only August 16th. That'll give you 3 months basically to figure this out. If you do it like before Thanksgiving, in that corridor. And a weekday to avoid the NFL, because clearly they'd actually, or maybe not, because they don't care about the NFL, because like you said, it's a wild card weekend. They're going to be against an NFL game anyway. So the whole idea was, oh, Fox doesn't want to have this on in the fall because they have to worry about the NFL. They're still worried about it. They don't care about the NFL. They moved it for whatever. They didn't want to do it
on a national holiday.
So
on a long weekend.
I mean, I think there was a way to do it where, like, even if you can't, there's a way to, like you were saying, I think previously, it's the 70th Emmys. So like there is a celebration, a celebratory aspect that I'm sure the Television Academy doesn't want to like give up with this ceremony. But there is a way to do like a great big like retrospect that you don't need actually the writers or the actors for.
Yeah, you can like just pull together montages, I guess. Yeah, like you do need like approval for that, I guess. But
I would say like,
or you could just like you were saying, you could just do like that type of celebration when the Emmys or when the strikes are over.
Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like you could have done, like they could have, if they set a November date, they could plan like, we'll do a regular show and just go ahead and figure out how we're going to do that. And like, hopefully we could pull it together. I think there like is a way to do it where you don't have writers until you have writers, but like, the whole infrastructure of the show is going to always pretty much be the same, I would think, right? Again, I'm not a TV producer, but I mean, if you're worried about like a host and a monologue and then writing the banter and all that shit, like, sure.
Have everyone do improv.
And then, which you could do, which the Tonys did, right? And then you have like, and I know they got a waiver, so maybe they wouldn't give them Emmys a waiver, but maybe they would, honestly. And especially if you did it like that.
They just said they wouldn't picket it, but there was no script.
So or you do like a montage thing, and then like we said, like just announce the winners. You don't need to actually, and it's like, oh, that's sad that I don't get to see a speech from this person, but like you still do the winners. You do a celebration of what the Emmys are for the 70th anniversary, and it's a 2-hour show. And certainly it's got to be more impactful as an event than having it being just another award show in January that people are going to try to watch.
Be buried. And the other problem is, as we've talked about, this will be in the middle of Oscar season, so everyone will like once again just be caring about films and movies and Oscars, and TV always the redheaded stepchild to film, right?
And yeah, like especially that too, thinking about like obviously like there are TV awards at the Golden Globes if no one cares broadcast. About them.
Like everyone just watches, or like it's like film Twitter just cares about the film awards, and then they kind of begrudgingly predict the TV awards too, but they don't actually like follow.
And it's on a holiday. I just think it's like a really poor choice of date and decision, and it's kind of disappointing because like even so like yeah, like this is gonna end, the strikes will end and they'll do a show and like you'll get to see speeches, but I just think it's gonna feel like not as great as it could have been. I don't know, I'd rather see like no speeches and like a celebration of if they had to do this, if the strikes are still going on in November, I'd rather see like no speeches and like a celebration of television than like another award show being the third award show of that cycle in like a week. Where you're seeing like
it's not even that cycle, it's
different like cycles, but you know what I mean, like that week in 8 days we're gonna see pretty much the same people winning awards, and like giving some. I just think it's just so not the greatest thing. It's very disappointing because like I don't know, there's just got to be a better answer, and I think they wanted to move it to January clearly for whatever reason, and I don't think it has anything to do with the strike, or not completely the strike. I think they wanted to move it to January.
No, I mean, like if the strikes did not happen, obviously the show would have gone on in September,
right.
But I think it's that I think like Fox having the final say, they were just like, like the strike's still going on, let's just, move it to January. And then there's like all these arguments in the favors, like that gives us more time, like for them to end plan. And then they could also argue, which I'm against, is like all these other award shows are in January. Like that's not a good thing for the Emmys. It's gonna get forgotten. you're honoring shows from a previous cycle. And
that's
that's why like the Emmys should always be by itself in September. Like it makes sense. Obviously, it's like based on the old, I mean, it still exists, but like the broadcast schedule of September to May, and it's like sort of like a kickoff. Like you honor the previous season and it's a kickoff for the new broadcast season that starts in September. So, but like it's great that it gets to stand on its own and it won't be overshadowed by film like it will be now.
Yeah, it's definitely going to feel, I think we're going to still talk about it, but it'll feel like a little bit of a cultural afterthought, maybe.
Yeah, and yeah, it sucks. Like, and I also understand, like it is the 75th anniversary and they're embossing the statuettes with 75.
75. I said 70 before. I was wrong. Sorry.
Like they want to be celebratory. And yeah, it sucks, like, the timing and everything for them. But it's, I think like the bigger picture is like the strikes are happening for a very good reason, and they like you should be like celebrating the work, but also you just have to like realize like it might just not happen the way you want it to, and I think yeah, like I don't need speeches. Like I know a lot of fans want to see speeches from their faves, but you can just give me a list of winners and I'm fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a balance. Like I said, like it doesn't need to just be like somebody sitting there on a podium reading the winners or like a press release that comes out. There's a way to like do it and like, yeah, like still make it feel celebratory. I don't know. I think, and obviously they just wanted to have. I know it would, if the strikes didn't happen, this would have happened in September and everybody would have been fine. But I think a lot of these companies, not just Fox, but my sense is a lot of them are using this opportunity to kick stuff that they are not super sold on happening when they were supposed to happen to a later date. And they're not doing with everything, which shows me that there are certain things that the studios and networks are less confident in than other things.
Right. Well, also, like just hours after the announcement that the Emmys will be on January 15th, Fox scheduled some like country music special on September 18th.
Yes. So it felt like maybe that's more aligned with what they think their programming will be with the football in the fall.
Yeah. And then also, as I've mentioned, I don't know if I mentioned it on the record, but I've definitely mentioned to you multiple times, like Fox, if they're just like, they're annoyed by this whole situation and like the rescheduling and everything, like they could just have swapped the carrying the Emmys with another network, because that's the deal. Like the big four networks, they rotate the Emmys every year. Like that happened with the Super Bowl, just like swap it one year.
I feel like they were more, I think the calculus is let's just get it over with. We don't want to have this, and let's just get it over with.
So yeah, it's I really hope, just for the chaos, like there's a leak of the winners before January 15th.
Wow, that'd be absolutely crazy.
That'd be great.
Stranger things have happened. Joyce, we're going to do a bunch of emails and we're going to talk about how voting is starting, but this is relevant, I think, to our scheduling purposes. We had one here from Carlos that I was going to read. Now that we know the Emmys are in January, how long are you going to keep talking about them? Until September and then Oscar season begins? It's going to be weird seeing your final predictions after the Globes.
Yeah, I know.
Sure is. We were just talking about this.
I mean, we were talking about this before it was finalized.
Yes,
it's going to be in January, because they were clearly getting postponed.
So
whatever date. So
for scheduling purposes, if people care, we're going to do the Emmys again next week on the 24th. Then we're going to do an early look at the Oscars the following week.
Yeah, we're going to take an Emmy break, and then we're going to revisit our terrible Oscar predictions that we did in March.
So many bad ones. And they're going to be still bad for me, at least, I think, based on but I think it's going to be a good year for film. So that'll be on the 31st. Then we're going to go back to the Emmys. One last
that'll be our mid-season finale, I guess.
Yes. On September 7th, we'll do one last look at the Emmys, maybe make some picks. I don't know.
I mean, when am I going to change?
Nothing.
I have like 4 months.
And then we're going to go back to the Oscars and come back to the Emmys, I guess, in December.
Yeah. I mean, by December we'll have like Globe and Critics' Choice nominations, so we could do talk about like TV some more, even though they're honoring different shows.
Yeah,
Because
and even though all
calendar year.
even though all those results have no impact on the Emmy wins because those will be already decided in a lock and key.
It'll be fun. I mean, I guess not for like every single race, but it's like they won't. The Globes don't really do it that much anyway, but the Globes and Critics' Choice won't be able to piggyback off of the Emmy winners.
It'll be interesting, and it's also going to be interesting because there's not a lot of shows like we talked about.
No, so
I'll be very curious.
But they get to do the Bear season 2.
They get to do the Bear season 2, which will be big
technically.
And Only Murder season 3.
Yes. Yeah, and everything, like all the stuff airing right now, like Justified, City of Primeval.
Justified, sure. My Beloved Winning Time is back, Joyce. I'm really liking this season.
Very quietly.
I mean, it feels like as quiet as Gossip Girl was before they canceled it, so I'm not confident that they'll do it through season 3.
Zaz know it exists?
I feel like Zaz would really like it. There's nothing not to like.
It's like everything is like up his alley, right? It's like all dudes, sports, LA.
And I gotta say, I think the second season has been like really good. Adrian Brody is dominating.
I haven't watched any of the second season yet. It was very funny when they sent like it was like part of the screeners, right? They sent this additional information like PDF. It was like a fact check PDF, so they don't get sued.
Yeah, it's a pretty. I didn't actually. So I've been watching it in real time
because you love to watch it with the people.
I do, but I gotta say the people not really talking about it.
Well, because obviously they couldn't promote it like they normally would have with the strikes.
I wonder if that has something to do with it a little bit.
A little, but also it just, I feel like they just like dropped the trailer and that was it. Yeah.
We'll maybe talk about it. Maybe we'll get to talk about it if it gets nominated because there's not a lot of else going on. Who knows? So Emmy voting is starting now.
Yes. Thursday, August 17th, and it ends on the 28th.
What's your take of how we've had this phase 2 run up in terms of anything that you've seen where you're like, oh, that maybe will help these shows overcome?
Well, first, I'm glad that the voting dates stayed the same because they should not be voting in December.
That would be really bad.
Yeah, real bad, Bob. So that's good. And also no one wants to be campaigning for another 4 months anyway.
No.
But I feel like, outside of the writers, couldn't really do anything unless it wasn't through the studio. So we still have had some campaigning by them, and then a lot of the actor campaignings, they were all banked before the strike started on July 14th.
Good. If your publicist is great, they were really on that shit.
I mean, like everyone knew like the vibe was like the strike is probably going to happen, so everyone was just banking stuff. I feel bad for the actors that week because that was also Emmy nominations week, so probably did a lot of Zooms and phoners.
Yep.
They're all like they've been rolling out the past couple weeks.
But good for them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Keep their names in the conversation.
Yeah, we've had like Riley Keough, Vanity Fair. We have Io Adebari and THR.
Sarah Snook for Variety.
Yeah. And she didn't. I mean, she was in Australia for that too. So, and I don't know what else is in there.
From an actor standpoint, yeah. What do you think?
Like W Magazine, they do their usual. They talk to a bunch of actors. So they had like yesterday, like Matthew McFadden was in it and Kerry Russell. They also did Tom Pelphrey, who was not nominated, sadly, but he got a lot of pickup for his comments saying that he had never seen Big Bang Theory before dating Kaley Cuoco. So
I saw those headlines.
Yeah. Love to act it. So
yeah. Aggregators out in force for that one. I've noticed a lot of aggregators. It's tough out there for the aggregators because there's not as much celebrity content, that we're going back to old interviews and aggregating. And there was a headline I saw going around last week about Hannah Waddingham on The View in June, talking about how great it was that Jason Sudeikis like didn't care that she's incredibly tall. And a lot of men are intimidated by that, especially actors, because they don't want to look like shorties. But she was like, he didn't give a shit, and it like made me feel like really confident. And I was like, oh, when did she say this? I didn't see this, and I clicked on the link, and it's like from a resurfaced interview in June. I was like, holy shit, we are really, really looking for.
I
out
love
there
when things like go. I wouldn't even say go viral again, but go viral for the first time, and you see that it's very old.
It's great. But I think a lot of people are really trying now to make it happen because they got running out of stuff to do. But
yeah,
like you said, a lot of the one thing I've noticed we've talked about from like a lot of the sites pivoted to a lot more below the line people. Seen a lot of that. And the writers, when they could, I talked to Lee Sung Jin for Beef through his personal rep.
How was he?
He was great. He said how it was great to be nominated for an Emmy, but like obviously the studios should like step up and the strikes are bad.
Yeah.
And he was very nice, I thought. It was great chatting with him.
And what was his favorite needle drop?
He said he loved Mayonnaise, Smashing Pumpkins, and he loved The Reason by Hoobastank.
Perfect bookends. Yeah. I talked to Jake Schreier, and his fave was The Reason, of course.
He told a story about Jake because they're friends like for a long time, and we're writing Thunderbolts together, if that even still exists.
Not anymore.
Who knows? But so they were going to work together on that, and he was like, they had originally had Today by Smashing Pumpkins in that spot in the pilot, Lee Sung Jin said, and it just didn't work. He's like, the song just didn't seem to work. So then they were trying other songs, and they came up with The Reason, and Jake was like, fuck no, this is so corny. And then he watched and he's like, this rules. And like he was like, oh, like it was great. Like it's like reclaiming a lot of these like kind of hack songs that everyone likes was like a big part of their musical taste.
Yeah, that's basically what Jake said too. Like it just makes sense once you see it like on film.
Yeah.
And I also talked to the sound mixers, and they were also standing The Reason because they were like, it just brought me back.
Yeah.
You know, to like when I was a teenager. I was like, same.
So yeah, they're doing campaigning. I mean, it's great. I'm like, I've been tweaking my picks, but not really changing.
What did you do? What did you do?
Well,
did you do anything besides? I mean, last week you went to James Marsden.
I went to James. I'm really torn on comedy actress. And Joyce, we have like a bunch of emails we're going to read today, and a lot of them are comedy actress. We talked about this.
I mean, that's a hard one. So
it's really hard. Here's one from Sean, who emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com. Get those emails in because I feel like we're going to have a lot of time to talk emails in the next 2 weeks. Get those last Emmy questions in until December. Super fan Sean here. I'm absolutely living for the weekly Emmy talks and the Oscar flashbacks. They're my favorite videos to see on my YouTube feed. You can watch us talk about the Oscars, Joyce, anytime. They're all up there. We're doing the 2000s.
Well, we're almost done.
Yeah,
well, we finished recording them.
We did. So when you get to the episode where we talk about The Blind Side, we're not going to talk about Michael Oher's lawsuit.
No, because we recorded that last week, and then literally that day, sadly, we find out that Sandra Bullock's longtime partner died of ALS. And then this week, obviously, the drama with Michael Oher and the Tuohys. So
I will say, I didn't listen back to it yet, but I was like, I don't think we didn't say anything. I was like, we didn't say anything there that I was like concerned with, let's say.
I don't think we said anything about the movie that much. Like we both think it's just like meh, the movie.
Totally fine. And like her win was like,
it's like your typical white savior movie, you know. So I think we were mostly talking about Sandy's narrative and how
in her speech, which was great. And I don't think that's sullied by this controversy.
No, and like no, do not come for Sandy. This is not her fault. She just played a role. She accepted the part and she played it, and she won an Oscar for it. So leave her alone.
Anyway, Sean writes, my question is about best comedy actress. It seems this race is very chaotic without powerhouse Jean Smart, and the award is arguably up for grabs. What do you think of Christina Applegate's chances of winning? I love Dead to Me, and I am personally rooting for her, but I'm not sure enough people have caught up with the show. She has a good narrative, as she has stated. This is her last acting role due to her ongoing battle with MS, and her industry peers may want to recognize her for overall contributions to television comedy. This is one of the most exciting races this year, and I think she definitely stands a chance. Best, Sean.
Yes, same. I think she is a deserving winner. And I think she does stand a chance because Jean Smart is not here.
So I moved her up to second.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't, and then I'll just read another one because the other one other email about this too, and then we could just talk about this. Was, let me see, Caleb, who wrote, I wonder why no one is predicting Jenna Ortega to win Comedy Actress. I'd argue that her show was the most watched out of all the actors nominated this year. It broke all sorts of records, and she seems like the kind of young talent, kind of reminiscent of Zendaya, that they'd want to reward, especially with how popular she is right now. Wednesday got more nominations than Abbott as well. And then this is just a note. Also, Chris, please convince Joyce to download Letterboxd. I need her film thoughts this season. No fucking way is Joyce downloading Letterboxd.
No. I don't feel the need. I've gotten like a lot of I wouldn't even say requests, but like questions about it. Yeah. Like if I have a letter, I'm like, no, I don't. I don't feel the need to broadcast all my opinions online.
I love I feel the need to do it for Letterboxd. I do it all the films. Everything I watch, I just put up there. Yeah, last night I watched The Nice Guys.
Oh, love The Nice Guys. I haven't watched that in a while.
Man, what a great fucking movie. I was like, we really messed up not letting Shane Black make another one of these. It would have been great.
So underrated. Yeah, really great. No, I just like if I watch a movie, then I just talk about it with people I know.
Sure.
So and yeah, like I'll talk about like here and stuff, but I don't feel the need to like be online all the time to like share my thoughts on everything.
So Zendaya, the Zendaya comparison we've talked about a lot for Jenna. I don't know what to do with this category. I was like, obviously, Quinta is the front runner in our odds. We both have Rachel Brosnahan winning, but I don't think there's. My sense is there's not a lot of passion for either of them in the world.
In the world, I mean, you know what? The good thing is we don't even have to think about this again until January.
No.
You don't need to stress about it for another 5 months. But yeah, I think like Quinta is the safe choice, obviously, as we've said. I don't know if I will go back to her in January. Who knows?
One thing I'll say about Christina Applegate is that she definitely has, I mean, not to be gross. I mean, her story is obviously really compelling, and I think people are very empathetic to her. And like, she's been a great like kind of advocate for herself and talked about a lot about her diagnosis. And I think there's some really, and she is even before that, I think she was like a really beloved figure in the industry, right? Like, I mean, people love Christina Applegate for years. She's been a television
star. She got in for Dead to Me first season,
right?
Made release by herself.
So I'm like, I think there's a lot of reasons that she would win, but I'm also like, I do wonder how much of it is like when you go in, when you're starting to open up the ballots and you're going to vote, you might love Christina Applegate and love her story, but is that your favorite performer? Like, I still think like it only goes so far, and like people end up voting for their favorite performance, not just to be like, it would be great to honor Christina Applegate and here's how I will do it, right? You might say that, and maybe even would say that publicly, or like if somebody asked you, like, man, I love Christina Applegate. It's so powerful, and like, what a great story. And like, we're so glad that she got this one last performance, and she's really great on the show. But in the end, you still might vote for Quinta or Rachel Brosnahan or Jenna Ortega because you just like the shows more. You like those performances better. So I'm not sure how much, like, that's why I don't have her winning. And I don't know if I would ever have her winning. It's just based on that, basically.
Yeah, like, I don't know how much her personal narrative will take her. Obviously, you know, everyone's aware of it, and it's very sad. And unfortunate, and yeah, this is her last on-screen role, so if they feel compelled to honor her because of that, they can, but you know, they're not always sentimental. Like, I think ultimately they do just vote for what they like the most
Right.
for like whatever reason. And yeah, like I don't know if like her performance is most of their favorites. I don't know. Like she's also the show's only nomination.
And then in the same kind of, not grouping them together because of narrative, but just as like another contender, like Jenna Ortega to me also feels like, I'm not sure that's people's favorite performance. There's a lot of reasons why she could win. I think she's like a great star and people do probably like her, and the show was incredibly popular and it got a ton of nominations. But I'm like, if you like the show, you definitely liked her, like all of that. But I'm like, is that still your favorite performance of the whole year? I have doubts.
Yeah. I think, you know, like if they had a ranked system, I'm not sure how many number ones she would get. You know, like whereas with Zendaya, you know, the frequent comparison, you could definitely see her getting a lot of number ones in a ranked system.
Exactly. It
You
was
know, like
incredible. It was
they're
way
just
more
different
memorable.
shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
and like that show is a drama, Euphoria. And she just has so much more typically baity material.
Yeah. And I mean, like, the thing I remember about Jenna Ortega, if you're just like down to like literally memes, it's like her dancing. It's not
Yes.
like, like that's great. That's a great moment. But I'm like, it's not, is that enough to win or make you pick her number one? I don't know. Of these, honestly, like the one person we haven't talked about is Natasha Lyonne, similarly, not the most popular show based on the nominations and didn't get in for series. But I would argue maybe she has more passion than Christina or Jenna from like a number one standpoint, maybe. But maybe that's just my bias. I don't know. I don't think there were any of them were going to win. So
I just feel like they can all win and none of them could win.
yeah,
But again, if it's the tape system, I think Risha would win.
yeah. I don't
So
know. It's always
I, yeah, it'll be because like if like Quinta ends up winning, then it's just like, well, yeah, it was just like her all along. She has like you could argue she has the stronger show, even though Abbott didn't expand in season 2 and Maisel has more nominations, but that's a craftier show. But you know, Abbott is like the quote unquote hotter show right now than
I,
Maisel, you know.
yeah, that's part of it too. But I'm like, they just don't love Abbott, clearly.
I don't think like overall, like it's not as strong as I think maybe the internet thinks it is. But like I mean the actors like it and only the actors are voting here. She has a second nomination in guest for SNL, you know, so um but yeah, I don't know about this category.
Really
Um
tough.
yeah. But and yeah, I don't I'm trying to think of if have they have did any of them bank any interviews that have been released in the
Well,
past
that's
couple.
the other thing. No, I don't think they did. Like none of these people. That's why I was like, I'm not sure Rachel is going to win, even though I have her in first, because I'm like, since the show went off, you've not really heard a peep about
She
her.
was on Broadway too, and
She's been busy.
and then you know now she's Lois Lane, just under the wire,
Got it
jumping
in.
in. Yeah.
So I'm like, she hasn't really been out there. And for a show that I think everyone likes, and even in like other interviews I've done, I've heard people talk about how they love Maisel or whatever. Like it's still a show that I think the industry really liked and respected. I just don't, and they obviously she already won. Like we said, they don't usually go backwards, and I just don't know if there's enough noise to make them want to go backwards. Like when they're voting today, right? Like I'm like, are you going to be like, oh, yeah, Rachel definitely, or will you go Quinta because like Abbott is a show people are talking about, or Jenna because it's a very popular show? I have no idea. I literally have no idea.
Also, like you know, for phase 1, we just had the writers strike, and now we have dual strikes. Like I don't think it'll be like that much of an impact, but like how much do you think the strikes would impact voting? Like I think there are always people who don't vote anyway. So like if there are voters who are just not voting, you
I,
know, because it's like this like awards are the last thing on my mind because I
I
want
think,
fair pay and residuals, you know.
yeah, I kind of think they are not. I think people would vote. I don't think they actually
Yeah,
care
I
that
think
much.
I think most people would vote anyway. They might not like think too hard about it. I don't think most voters like think too hard about this.
I think the only way it would affect your chances. And all of these people have incredible publicists or smart enough to or agree with or on the right side of history or whatever it is. The only way it would impact you is if you did something and said something stupid like Stephen Amell or like the Tron 3 director coming out and being like, this is stupid, we shouldn't be on strike, and like kind of make a deal. Like, even if you think that, just don't say it. And I think none of these people have done anything stupid like that, so they're fine. I don't think the lack of voting would really hurt or help anyone. I don't know. I think it's just going to be like people vote, like
Yeah.
they're going to vote. I don't know.
Yeah, like I don't think, you know, like phase one voting was like severely impacted by the writer's strike. Like
No.
obviously they're just voting for the writing categories and programs. So I don't, yeah, but I don't know. So there's still like next week is like one last full week of campaigning.
Right.
So we'll see what else people have up.
Yeah, maybe there's some more banked interviews.
There'll definitely be more banked interviews. There's still, I mean, there's still events. Like there's
Yeah.
still, you know, Q&As and stuff.
There's a lot of events. A lot of events, I would say. And a lot of people are like,
well, because also the thing is like these studios and networks, they still have their campaign budget.
Yeah.
You know, so.
And they still have people wanting to campaign.
Yeah.
All the below line people.
Yeah.
Give me that Emmy
So.
in 6 months, 5 months, whatever it is. Here's another email, Joyce, I got from Alexandre. Emailed us at slugfest@goldderby.com, or Alex. Hi, Chris and Joyce, big fan. I was wondering if you guys have been watching the After Party season 2. And if so, what are your thoughts about it? And if you think that Paul Walter Hauser being a cast member in a show currently airing has any influence over his possible Emmy win, considering the fact that y'all have said this race can be competitive. I know the show is very small and didn't get any Emmy noms in the first season, but with the strike happening, I feel like anything helps.
So we've seen most of After Party season 2 because they sent almost the entire season screeners.
I think everything but the finale.
Right. How many is that 9?
I think 9.
Okay. I watched it so long ago, I don't remember. I don't what episode are you up to now this week? What's this week?
Let's see.
Yeah, but like PWH's episode was the 3rd one, so it already aired. I know that. He did the noir one.
7 is today, which is Ulysses. Anik and Dan are moving the investigation to Zoe's family, starting with her free-spirited uncle.
Oh yeah, so that's is John Cho's one. So he gets like his mind movie is Dance.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, let me make sure this is right with the finale. Let's see. So next week is the 23rd is Fang, which is the TikTok one.
Yeah, that's Kang John.
And then
and Elizabeth Perkins is 9.
Right? So we did see that one.
Yeah, so okay.
And so then the finale is September 6th.
Yeah. So we saw everything but the finale. But yeah, PWH was the 3rd episode. I like that episode. I think my favorite episode of the season is Sebastian, the heist one.
Yes.
That was great.
Which also features a cameo from our pal Ben Schwartz.
Unnecessary, but was I happy to see him? Yes.
So problem when you're going to do something like that is the first season, I think we both agreed was great. Very little watched, did not get enough shine. Really fun show. Second season, I would say not as great. Still fine, but not as fun to me. And having Ben show up is a great moment that reminds you how great the show was and is not the same as it is now. And that always is tough. When I'm like, oh man, you know what I would love to watch? Ben Schwartz in this show.
Want to watch Jasper again.
So it kind of had like not the greatest. I don't think it's bad, but I just
no,
don't think it's
and
great.
I think, and they really tried to expand their horizons in terms of genres. I think, they did like a lot of the obvious ones in season 1. So then some of the ones they did this season is like, they did a Wes Anderson one. That's a movie genre. So I think I would have rather the season just have been a completely new set of characters with no connection to the first one.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how it pays off, but like, I mean, Anik has been good. Danner, I think, is like doesn't really need to be there. I know they kind of set her up as like Hercule Poirot, but it doesn't really.
No, and it's this like, yeah, and then I also her episode was last week, right? It was like the erotic
Yes.
thriller. Yeah,
Which
and
is
it was
good
just
concept,
like that.
but
Yeah, but it was just like it was that whole episode was just her explaining why she quit the force, and I'm like, we don't even need a whole episode on this,
yeah.
But anyway, I do think it's underwatched, so I don't know how much the after party would help Paul. I think he's strong enough by himself as it is, just for Blackbird. So
we disagree on this one. I still have Young Mazzino winning. I just think like, man, they don't care about Blackbird. And you like we've talked about, he could just Paul Walter Hauser could just win because he's great on the show and people just are not thinking about this. And like that's it, right? Like they don't need to put a lot of thought into this. But I think if they really liked Beef, which they clearly did, like I think Young would win. So I don't know. I'm gonna stick with him in first.
I just like am not gonna overthink this one. Like I've said numerous times, I think he could just be like another Ben Whishaw.
Yeah.
Like the show it's not strong, it miss the series, but he was like the default fronter for most of the year, and just it carries him through. So
I did make a change in this category. This is not in emails, but I was looking at directing and writing. I had Fleischman in both, but I put Lee Sung Jin for Figures of Light in directing.
Because you talked to him, that's why.
Yes, you got it.
Yeah.
And then I kept Fleischman in writing, which I think I should probably have it flipped and have Beef winning writing and then Fleischman winning directing, but I don't know.
Directing is tricky for that one. I don't even know what I have. Do I still have Fleischman in directing? I don't know.
I also was like, man, I would love to. I really think Prey could win. Dan Trachtenberg has actually been out
we
there.
talked about this last month when we did our first picks. I was like, I was very close to just putting Prey in directing.
I kind of might do that now. Maybe I'll do that and put Beef in for writing. Make it pure chaos.
You have until January, so
I guess so. The reason I was like, I want to put Fleischman in writing is because I think it's like the writer show, and Taffy Brodesser Akner is like a writer, and not that Lee Sung Jin isn't, but I think, and this is, I kind of fell into this trap. I feel like once before where it's just like Beef will probably win because it's going to win series and they really like it, right? So it probably would just win writing, and I should just put it in writing, even though I kind of think Fleischman is the more writerly show.
Yeah, I mean,
then,
I think that's a lot of people's conundrum. So
and then directing, I think Prey could win maybe because like you don't really like Fleischman is not the directing show. That's a good episode, Me Time, and it's Sherry Springer Bergman and Robert Pulcini, right? Who directed that episode?
No, it's John and Val.
Oh, they did that one? Okay. Either way, great. Both great directors. All four of them great directors. But yeah, maybe Prey wins there. I don't know. We'll talk about this in January, I guess. So
I mean, the double Beef there, I just don't, because I think like they're pretty evenly matched. Because like Sunny did the finale, Figures of Light, and it's outdoors for most of it because they're in the woods, and then he has an amazing final shot. And then Jake did Great Fabricator, which is the penultimate, and it's like action packed. It has another car chase.
Yeah, they're very complimentary, I think.
Yeah. But so I don't know.
Those are the emails I got. Just you got some too.
I got sent a lot of questions.
Great. Let's hear them.
So the first one from Holly, who has multiple questions, but the first one.
Okay.
I know that you're predicting Ted Lasso for comedy series. Is that more because you think people are lazy, or do you think the fact that The Bear is not a true comedy is hurting its chances?
Can I say a little from column A and a little from column B?
Yeah, I think it's both.
I think
and then I think it's also that they still love Ted. It doesn't matter like what.
I actually think number one is that they still love Ted.
Yeah.
And in theory, like we have talked about, they like season 3 more than season 2 based on its nomination haul and the way it was nominated. It got one more, but like the editing, I'm still shocked.
Yeah, it got more nominations than it's ever gotten.
So it just is like they are all in on this show. They love the 3rd season. They love it if it's the final season. I have no doubt. To me, it would be a real shock if The Bear won. I just don't think it will for series. I don't know if it matters as much that it's not a comedy. I guess it historically would, but I'm like, do you think it's like Fleabag was definitely funnier, but like, is it more Fleabaggy than like we're giving it credit
Fleabag
for?
is funnier. Fleabag is more of a comedy than The Bear. Like The Bear is a drama. Like
it's drama. The Bear is a drama. The second season,
I don't care that it's here.
No,
but it's like it is a drama. Like have I laughed during The Bear? Sure, but it's a drama. It's I am like hesitant to predict it to win also because like they have not awarded a dramedy, for lack of a better word, series.
Right.
So like they still give the series win to lighter stuff, like ostensibly funnier stuff, ostensibly comedic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so yeah, like Ally McBeal won, and that's a dramedy, but that's, you know, there are, you know, some absurd elements in there.
But if I was ranking it, I would say like the reason Ted is going to win is because they just like Ted.
Yes. And yeah, I don't even know if like they're that lazy. I guess there is some like inertia involved because it's like I voted, like let's say you voted, you know, for 2 years in a row, so like I'm going to do it again, you know. But I don't think you would vote for something you don't like.
No, I don't think so. And
yeah, like even if you're lazy, I don't think you would vote for something you don't like.
Though I do want, so where the laziness comes in, and I wonder, I mean, we don't think this, and we both have Jeremy Allen White winning, but I do wonder, will Jason Sudeikis actually, will he win for Ted Lasso season 3? Would that be if not lazy as a pejorative, maybe just like the comfortable thing for voters who love Ted Lasso still clearly, would just kind of like push him up and have him win too?
I think that was definitely the case last year. But I just think like Jeremy is too strong.
We think he is, and he's won the industry awards, but they've never
faced off before.
And so there is part of me that's like, right now, I think Jeremy Allen White's going to win, and I really want him to win just because I love the stupidity of him winning for season 2 and season 1 in the same week. I just think that's brilliant, and I would love to see that such a fail. But a part of me is like, in 5 months when I'm making my final picks, I might go back to Jason just because like.
But then like, you know, Jeremy will have won the Globe too. I mean, obviously, like voting is not happening for the Emmys in January, but you'll be influenced by his season 2 wins by then too.
Right.
So, I mean, I think in terms of acting, I think Hannah stands the best chance of winning of the 3 categories it's in. Because I think, as we've said, supporting actor is a tough race.
Supporting actor is really tough, and they have 2 strong Ted candidates there, and I think that's going to hurt it. I also think I moved Hannah up to second behind Io. I had Cheryl there, but I moved her back down just because there's just the nominations told us there's not as much interest in Abbott.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, again, it's still the acting branch just voting for the acting winners. So I mean, like, I don't have Abbott winning series, so I don't think that like really impacts show that much, as also being the reigning champion, and she was like, I mean, like arguably the underdog last year because most people were predicting Janelle James to win for an Abbott win if you were doing one. So I don't know. I mean, I think it's between the 3 of them, Io, Cheryl. So, but then like, you know, last year people thought Hannah was a lock to repeat again because they love back-to-back winners in that category too, and she lost. So I don't know if they'll go back to her either. So
well, I'm thinking I
to
still
go back to back.
right. I still have Io winning, but I did think I'm like Hannah. You're right. I think Hannah could win. I think she's definitely the best shot. Though I would not be surprised. Jason, they're very close. I think the problem I have with, and it might not matter because clearly they don't care maybe as much about the nitty gritty of the show, but they clearly like the moments and the cumulative feels about Ted. But I was like, I just felt like there was a point in season 3 where I was like, oh. Like when Rebecca was like thinking about having a baby and then like had that Amsterdam excursion. And they kind of bring that back in the very end of the finale with the guy and his daughter. And it just is like ready-made family kind of thing. But it felt like there was going to be a little more with Rebecca in the middle of the season. And they kind of shifted away from that and had her be like, had that great episode where International Break, which I think is her submission probably.
Yes.
Where she has like that great speech about soccer. And I'm like, that alone, that could be good. Like that could help her win. But I just was expecting like maybe a little more. Maybe that's my fault for having different expectations than what the show is doing. But I don't know. That's why I don't have her winning.
Yeah, the storylines for Rebecca and Keely were not great, Bob, this season.
No.
But both of them, Hannah and Juno Temple, did their best with the material. They're innocent. So, yeah, like that as a tape, like International Break is great for her because she, stands up to Sam Richardson and the suits and also to Rupert because then she realizes that she's over her anger for him by the end too, so, yeah, but yeah, like we've said, like the cumulative storylines don't really work this season, but in bit parts, in like viral moments, it still gives you the feels, and I think that's what people respond to. It's like they're writing like spec scenes, and those scenes still work individually, but it's not cohesive as a whole.
Yeah, I think that's pretty true. I also was like, I guess if you want to predict Hannah, another like data point would be they clearly like that episode because Sam Richardson got in for that episode, right? And he was like maybe on the fringe of getting in for a nomination.
I mean, I predicted him.
I know you predicted him, but I don't think a lot of people were. So I'm like, they clearly like that episode. They were paying attention to that episode. And so maybe they'd love her in that episode and she does win. I still think Io would win, but who knows?
I still have Io. So I have Io and Jeremy and the Bear in writing. I think those are my Bear above the line wins.
I have the same 3, and I have Ted in directing.
Yes, and series. So we'll see. And then another one from Holly, also related to the Bear.
Great.
Has there ever been an Emmy nomination as ridiculous as John Bernthal's guest nomination?
You would know better than me.
Well, Ellen Burstyn was nominated for 14 Seconds in 2006. And then they had to implement the Ellen Burstyn rule. She was in Mrs. Harris for 14 Seconds and was nominated. So then after that, they changed it because it was a limited supporting. So you have to be in your program in those categories for at least 5% of the total runtime.
So do you think that's more ridiculous than this?
Well, I haven't timed John Bernthal's appearance in the season 1 finale, so it's probably shorter than 14 seconds.
I think it definitely is. I think it's like 3 seconds.
It's like 3 seconds.
It's if at all. He just smiles. I think a lot of people don't realize that he's nominated for that episode. I think they think he's nominated for Cersei's, where he's in it for about 5 minutes.
And then now when they're voting for winners, they're thinking about fishes. So
yes. So, and I just think he's, I don't know. I think he's going to win. I have him winning, but I think it's pretty ridiculous. Pretty ridiculous for it to be that episode is hilarious.
Yeah. Also, like a total flex for them to submit that, like knowing he's in it for 3 seconds, and then just being like, we don't care because like we know they like the show, and we'll just see. And like they still checked him off.
Yeah.
So I don't even think like Fishes had that much to do with the nomination.
No.
Because season 2 dropped 4 days before voting ended, phase 1. So I think, he already had that support. But like Fishes will definitely help him now for the win.
Not to toot my own horn, but I always had him in because I was like, if you like the show, he's great, and he's like makes a huge impact as that character in the first season when he finally shows up.
Yeah, and also like it's guest, and we know like they don't care. Like, they once again have awarded Margot Martindale for just drinking coffee. So
this would be less to do than Margot Martindale.
Yes.
But you know what? Jon Bernthal got a great smile.
That they're just voting for the smile.
What a guy. Love him.
What a guy.
I interviewed him for King Richard. Love him. Big Jon Bernthal fan.
He was great in King Richard.
Oh, he's great. He's almost always great.
Yeah.
Love this guy.
And now he'll be an Emmy winner technically for 3 seconds. So. And then also from Holly.
Yeah.
You'll love this one.
Okay, good.
What do you think Stevie Nicks' endorsement will do for Daisy's Emmy odds? So for anyone who doesn't know, I should pull it up. Yesterday, Tuesday, August 15th, Stevie Nicks tweeted, very long tweet.
She must be verified.
Yeah, she's verified. She can also edit her tweets too. Unlike us, I'm not paying for that.
You wouldn't pay for that shit if you paid me. If it was free, I wouldn't pay for it.
So she wrote, just finished watching Daisy Jones and the Six for the second time. In the beginning, it wasn't really my story, but Riley seamlessly soon became my story. It brought back memories that made me feel like a ghost watching my own story. It was very emotional for me. I just wish Christine could have seen it. She would have loved it. Hopefully it will continue, ... So this came 2 days before voting started. So just, impeccable timing. How much did Amazon have to beg her to post this?
What if she just did it naturally because she loves the show, Joyce?
The second time.
So I'm in the tank for the show. Talked to a million people from it, including executive producer Lauren Neustatter, who is really out there pounding the pavement. I don't know if it's going to win because I think Beef still is like the show to beat. But I did move it up into second because I just think it's like
after Stevie.
After talking to Lauren. Obviously, I'm in the tank for these people when I talk to them, so I'm compromised. But I think it's the most of this list, even more than Obi-Wan, it's the most watchable. And it's like very easy to like. And I don't know if it'll win over Beef, but I think it's like probably would maybe be the populist choice here. I don't know if the Stevie endorsement helps at all, but I do think it's been of all these shows in the limited series category, it's been the one that has been in the conversation the most, whether it be the Riley profile or the amount of like panels that they've done on various sites, including ours, or like the Stevie thing. It's definitely like remained active in the conversation more so than I think these other 4 nominees.
I mean, clearly it's always been Amazon's number one.
Yes.
In limited. And I mean, that's why I like had it, like I predicted it to get into limited series.
You were right.
Which was like, an insane category because I was like, it's not like, like critically acclaimed or like, super raved by any means. Like it's a totally, solid show. It has the book fans, of course, but yeah, it has like broad appeal. It has, it's inspired, of course, by Fleetwood Mac. So it has like, the music component of like the needle drops and then also the original music. Like I do think it could have, like, if this were a Netflix show, it would have been like way bigger. I do think that.
Yeah, I don't know how much, like, certainly anything on Netflix would be bigger. So
yeah. But like just even from like the song perspective, like we've talked about this in terms of that category, like I feel like if one of those songs had really, really broken out, like it would have gotten a song nomination, but it did, like, perfectly fine.
Yeah, 9 nominations.
Yeah, I got 2 acting nominations. So what about her endorsement of Riley?
So that's a really tough category, like we've talked about. I still have Allie winning, and I have Dominique in second, Dominique Fishback.
Same.
And while I'm in the tank for Daisy, I have Riley in fourth because I'm just holding on hope for Lizzie Kaplan, who is my favorite performance of the whole year in Fleischman. She just absolutely kills it in that show. So I don't think Riley definitely is out there. So is Jessica Chastain, though. Both of them have done a ton of interviews. They banked a ton.
Yeah, this week, Jessica Chastain on Smartless, they recorded that right after the Tonys in June.
Every week, there's another interview with Jessica Chastain, and then it powers headlines around the world, whether it's about a Most Violent Year
Oscar Isaac, yeah,
Oscar Isaac and her relationship, and just the Help 2. She's going to make a Help sequel with her best friend Octavia Spencer. God, I love Jessica Chastain. She really cares. So if she won, I would not be surprised.
She works for it. Yeah, she hustles. Respect.
Like, this is another, I don't think this is as competitive as Comedy Actress, but I could honestly make a case for 5 of the 6 nominees. Catherine Hahn feels like the only one who I would say not as much of a chance, just based on how Tiny Beautiful Things was tiny. But I think you can make a case for the other 5 pretty reasonably. I don't think they're all going to, like, I don't think Lizzie would win, and I'm not sure Riley would win, but I could definitely see, like, if they won, I wouldn't be shocked, I guess.
No, I mean, I have Allie and Dominique in the top 2 because Allie's in Beef.
That was my thinking too, right?
And then Dominique, I've always predicted her for the nomination. Like, she has the passion. So
the passion is there, and I think if you put her in to get her nominated, you had her at number 1, and I think you would vote for her to win if you nominate her.
So yeah, and then Jess obviously has to SAG.
I feel like the problem with Jess, and I think Riley too, is that they're probably not your number 1.
Right. They're also both playing musicians. Does that matter?
Well, it definitely does usually, but I do think they could split the vote. I mean, Riley's, like, did Jess do her own singing? I don't actually know.
Yes, they did. And they also recorded live, like they sang live.
Right. I mean, we know Riley did, and they have like a full album. So I feel like that is like strong if you're like thinking of that. But I think Jess would maybe have the edge because she's doing a biopic, which we know is like the top.
I mean, Daisy Jones is a faux biopic,
but it's not a biopic. So she's not playing Stevie Nicks, even though Stevie said she did.
It's a Stevie avatar. It's a Fleabo Mac avatar.
How about Camilla Morrone?
I mean, you talked to her. Are you predicting her?
I got her in 4th. I have Claire Danes still in 1st. Niecy Nash Betts. I put Merritt Weaver in 3rd just because she's Merritt Weaver.
Like me, yes.
And then I have Camilla Morrone in 4th and Maria Bello in 5th. And then the Welcome to Chippendales ladies in 6th and 7th.
Merritt is on track to win her 3rd Emmy. She wins every 5 years. It's time. So let's go. I
don't think Daisy Jones will win above the line, even though I think it could win series just based on like the popular vote. I do think it'll win probably at least 1 Creative Arts Emmy. I have it winning Music Supervision. I think you had Stranger Things, but I still think Daisy Jones will probably win because it's the music show, and like that'll help. And the Stranger Things would be an easy name check since it won last year, but it's not for Running Up the Hill. It's for the finale. So,
but like they'll think it's for Running Up the Hill. I mean, it is in there. So
it is in there.
It's not the main scene that we know, but.
And then it could win, like, its other nominations were production design, character makeup for a period piece. I mean, it could win like one of these, I think. I also wanted to put it in casting, but I just think Beef will win because it's the series winner.
Yeah, I think I have Beef in casting.
But I put Daisy Jones in 2nd in casting because I was like, the casting of the show to find actors who can sing was difficult. And I think they put together a believable band, and maybe you're not parsing that and maybe not thinking about that, but I think that was like pretty good effort.
Yeah, like I think it could win a couple craft stuff. Yeah, but probably not above the line.
No.
So, but
it's out there. They're promoting the hell out of it. So good
they
for
are,
them.
they're revving up the tour talk again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still want to do it. So, and then they're still talking about like season 2.
I asked Lauren Newstetter about this, and she said they couldn't really talk about it because of the strike.
Right, of course.
But she said she would love to do nothing. I didn't know. But she did say they would love to do a tour, a performance with the group. I would bet this. She didn't say this at all. This is just me speculating. I was like, I would bet if the actor strikes and the writer strike end soon-ish, then they'll probably do something around the Emmys to do it, right? Like that kind of thing.
I mean,
celebration
Amazon definitely wants to do like throw a party with like Daisy Jones and the Six performing.
Right. That kind of thing. Right. Like around the Emmys when it actually happens.
So yeah. So I have one more from Holly great. and then 2 from someone else.
Okay.
Oh, this one is a long one.
Okay.
A critic recently said that Only Murders is actually a drama this season. Do you agree? And why do you think people seem to not understand that comedies can have dramatic storylines but still be very funny?
Well, I didn't. Who's the critic who said
it's not a drama?
Not even close.
No.
There's dramatic elements,
and there's always been dramatic elements in the show.
I would actually argue this season is sillier than the other 2 seasons.
It's always been very good at balancing the silliness and the drama. We talked about this last week of the season. Like it's always been, laced with melancholy, and that's why the show is good. Like it's about these lonely people coming together, and becoming friends, because they have this shared interest. So this like season 3, which we've seen most of, we've seen 8 episodes. Like the upcoming episodes, like they're very funny and there are dramatic elements, but it's not the bear.
No, I would say like, this is why I would say like, we'll see what the winter does and the Emmys 24 part 2. But I was like, I think Meryl has a really good shot of like either winning an Emmy for this or like certainly being win competitive, because she's so funny, but they give her real dramatic stuff that she's able to crush because she's Meryl Streep, and then she's also fucking hilarious. So it's like perfect performance for her.
Yeah, so like this week's episode, yesterday's, she sings at the end. She sings My Love is a Lighthouse, and that was like her
great moment. I just saw they released that on streaming.
They did, yeah. So there's been a ton of interviews about that, because Sarah Bareilles co-wrote it, and Patrick and Paul too. So
get them an Emmy.
Yeah,
certainly.
And Sarah Bareilles too. So
yeah.
So when I talked to the Murders editor a couple weeks ago, she also said that everyone was crying after Meryl sang that on set. So like, of course, like very emotional. But
great
she's
moment.
also, like we talked about last week, like she gets to do stuff that we don't normally see her get to do. And like one of that is comedy, and like physical comedy. I think this week's episode was also the one when she like hits her head with the lantern.
I didn't watch
it. I just like LOL'd. I think this is the one, because like this is the one when they were turning it into a musical, so that's why she sang at the end. This week was also, so I can say it now, I referred to as last week, and you didn't remember it, but the Jesse Williams connection, because Loretta gets an audition for an offshoot of a Grey's Anatomy spinoff, Grey's New Orleans Family Burn Unit. So I just cackled and I was like, I hope that was for Jesse. And then John Hoffman has done some interviews saying that Jesse Williams was howling with laughter during the table read over Zoom.
Love it.
So
very exciting.
Yeah, but like it's not a drama.
No, that's ridiculous. Which critic said that?
I mean, I'm sure we can Google, and
we'll Google it later. I don't want to put them on blast, but I mean, they let come on.
Yeah, and yeah, I do agree. People don't seem to understand that comedies can have dramatic storylines.
It's a little silly.
I don't know why
Especially
people see
nowadays.
this as like black and white. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
it's weird. Like dramas, like people don't have an issue with dramas being funny, but they have an issue with comedies being dramatic.
Always.
Yeah. So, and then I have one here from Winnie. It's just for you,
Okay.
Chris. Why aren't you predicting Megan?
Wait, for which?
Megan Fahey.
Man,
She just wrote Megan.
I should have known.
Wow, how could you forget?
Uh, as the number one bold type stan, I should. If it was with these predictions, I want to. Do I pick with my heart or do I pick with what I think is going to win?
I mean, you're predicting people you talk to, so.
So now I should just go. I should just say fuck it and put her in. I mean, I think I have Ray Seahorn winning, and I think Megan's win will be knocking Jennifer Coolidge out. I just think there's too much support for Jennifer Coolidge to have Megan win, and I think she would split the vote and Ray would win. But I really should predict Megan. Maybe I will in December. The reason for it would be she's the best part of the show, and we've seen in the past when they like the show and they pay attention to the show, she would be like the Matthew McFadden of this year.
With like 4 other people.
That's the problem. But I mean, like last year, like you had 3 Succession guys, right? Kieran, Matthew, and Nicholas. Now but Nicholas was like a long shot.
Was not winning.
So I would say like Simona Tabasco and Sabrina Impacatore or Nicholas. And then you have Aubrey Plaza, Megan Fahey, and Jennifer Coolidge. And so Jennifer Coolidge is Kieran. Aubrey Plaza is not applicable in this analogy. And then Megan Fahey is Matthew.
She's still ahead of Megan in the odds, right?
That's wrong, though. I just think that's wrong. Just straight up. I mean, I think if you watch the show, like Megan Fahey is like the thing of the show that you're going to take away.
Yeah, I think Aubrey is ahead because she's more known than Megan.
Yeah. But if you like the show enough, she could win. I just there's too many. And then you also have Jason Cameron in here. I just think there's like too many people in here to have Megan win. I think if there was like one less White Lotus person, you know, no success, you know what I mean? It just is like there's too much here to not have her win. But man, I would be so thrilled. I just can't hope. I'm punting on so many of these categories by predicting what I want. I can't just lose. But maybe Ray won't win either, and I should just go with Jennifer. I don't know. I don't
know. Never won an Emmy, so you're really
going out on a limb there.
Yeah. I mean, it would be legend shit if she were to win Better Call Saul's first and only Emmy. But I can't predict it. It's too much for me.
I mean, I feel like she could.
She deserves to, and I think she would win in the tape system. I don't know. I'm like, I don't think the actors they care about Better Call Saul, and the show's over. It's been over for more than a year now because yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of the series finale. So yeah, I don't. I mean, like I want her to win, but I can't predict her. So
that's like I feel like Megan. I can't predict her, but I want her to win. Maybe this will spark a great physical media release for the Bold Type, the full series on Blu-ray.
Is it streaming anywhere?
Isn't it on Freeform?
But
let's see. I think it's on Hulu with a free trial.
Okay.
Let's look at TV Guide, our old stomping ground. We're watching stream.
The watch list, yeah.
Subscriptions to Hulu. Yeah, it's on Hulu, I guess. Freeform would make sense that it would be on Hulu. Duh.
Right, yeah. But it's not on like Disney Plus. So
no, it's a little too grown up, I bet, for Disney.
I mean, they have adult fare on Disney Plus. So
Deadpool.
This is not like that grown up. Like no. Kids can watch it, so
yeah.
But yeah. So no Megan for you.
Not yet. Talk to me in December. It's August.
And then last one from her. How many times have you seen Barbie?
Twice.
I've only seen it once.
Man, you know, it was a great movie. It was better the second time. All this stuff I didn't like. I loved it the first time we saw it together, and I did really like it. And the stuff I didn't love was like, it just felt really labored in the first act. It felt like pretty sweaty to get going. But the second time I was like, actually, this is fine. And then Will Ferrell is definitely a weak part, but he's actually fun. It's not his fault because he's still funny. He has like a little run. He has like a little run with Margot where she's like, oh, when she comes in and they're all the men on the board, which I know has really pressed like Bill Maher for some reason. But like, and he comes out and he's like, oh, we have like a lot of women around here. And then he's like, some of my best friends are Jewish. It's just like really funny. He's just really funny. He sells like this stupid bit very well. So I thought he's fine. And yeah, it's just great. Gosling is great. And the second time I saw it, I was really impressed with Margot Robbie. I almost predicted her for Best Actress. I'm still deciding when we do our picks at the end of August if I'll have her in.
Yeah, I've only seen it once, but I loved it. You know, I think I still think like the humans are the weakest part of the movie.
Certainly.
So, but yeah, it's a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a good time. It's a lot of fun. I think it'll do really well at the Oscars, and I'm very happy for its success. And I can't wait to see what Greta Gerwig does next. And I would love to. If you were giving me money to bet if it's going to be Chronicles of Narnia, I'm going to take not Chronicles of Narnia. That'll be my bet.
I mean, that she could still be doing that in like 5 years, you know.
Yeah.
So there's
I'm not saying she'll never do it, but I guarantee it will not be her follow-up movie.
I also like don't want a sequel to Barbie.
Well, I think there will be, but not with any of the people involved.
Right. Like, well, what I mean is like just leave it alone. But they won't.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't talk. We'll talk about this in the future on our Oscars Playback 2010 episode, which I guess is our season finale, about The Hangover and how The Hangover was a great Warner Brothers hit. Made a lot of money, made all the people involved a ton of money because they bet on themselves. Bradley Cooper made like $50 million, like similar to like Margot Robbie making like $50 million. Bradley Cooper like made his bank on like The Hangover, and so did Todd Phillips. And then they made 2 and 3 and they were terrible. And I feel like Barbie, hopefully they won't come back with the group, but
well, none of them are under contract, which is a good thing.
It's a good thing for their agents because maybe they'll just say, you know what, give me some more money. I mean, like I couldn't begrudge if Margot Robbie and I never begrudge people wanting to make a lot of money. So if they want to come back and make another one and make a fucking killing, good for them. But I'm sure it will not be any good compared to the first one.
Well, it's also like, what is that story?
I could argue you can make a movie set in the world of Barbie that would be different. You wouldn't have.
And then like find a way to bring her back into Barbie land.
She could be like the Will Ferrell of the movie. Like do a couple of scenes and you cast a new Barbie or something and like
a new stereotypical Barbie.
Yeah, different version of Barbie with like a different stakes or something, or maybe you set it in the real world.
It'll be like the Bourne Legacy to the Bourne.
Yeah, kind of. Or you set it in the real world and how the real world has changed with stereotypical Barbie exiting Barbie world. I'm not a writer, Joyce. Noah Baumbach could come up with something great, I bet.
They gotta sit down and brainstorm, but they can't write anything right now. So
yeah, they're just Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach are sitting in their house with their children.
They're just they have a newborn.
They're not talking at all about ideas or nothing. They're absolutely not. They're upholding the sanctity of the strike in our house, definitely.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know some people besides you who've seen it more than once. But I think the funnier thing, not funny, but I think the more interesting thing is it's a lot of people have also seen Oppenheimer multiple.
I've seen it twice, and Joyce, I'm seeing it.
But I know people who've seen it like 4 times.
I'm seeing it again this week. I'm seeing it a 3rd time. Gotta get it in IMAX before it goes away. 70 millimeter IMAX.
It's been extended to the end of the month.
I know, that was why I was like, gotta get in. Oppenheimer is the best. I liked Oppenheimer even more the second time also. I thought it was like really good. It just is such a good movie.
Yeah, I think it's kind of because I've seen also some comments about like how could anyone watch it again, and I feel like those are coming from people who have not seen the movie yet and just see like the 3 hour runtime, and it's like, no, it's actually, like it's a great film and it's well put together, and then it's like, again, it's like you have, when you see it again, you already know the plot and how everything plays out, like structure wise, right? But then you have new appreciation for the details. Like that's why we watch things again that we like.
Speaking of, not to devolve this into our upcoming Oscar episode, but speaking of stuff I rewatched Air this weekend.
Oh, I've seen that like 4 times.
Oh my God. What
Amazon.
a great movie. Absolutely great movie.
It's like Air and like Oppenheimer and Barbie, I guess, are my top 3.
Same. Absolutely. I think Oppenheimer is my favorite. Then Barbie and Air are second and third. But man, Air is awesome. Matt Damon, just the best. That I hope gets a SAG Ensemble nomination because the cast is just really good.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to do with Air, but
we'll talk about it in a couple weeks.
I don't know. So, but yeah, that's all I have.
That's it. I think we're done then. I don't know. Let me look to see if I got any other emails. Oh, we got one here from Dave. I'm just going to read this one from David L. and then we can wrap it up.
Okay.
Our old pal David L. Joyce. You know him. He emails a lot. Comments on the YouTubes. I want to let you know something about your Oscars playback video for 2008. Both of you didn't know that Johnny Greenwood's score from There Will Be Blood was deemed ineligible because it used pre-existing music.
Oh yeah, that's right. So
we were wrong. But I said we do a lot of research for these. Can't be right all the time.
No. I'm also like too busy when I do the research on these. I'm too busy like looking for people's like old predictions and write up and like what the vibe was at the time. And like this year I was looking up for like all the strike stuff.
Yeah, I'm a big vibe guy. So yeah, we made a mistake on that, or mistake. I'm not even whatever. We didn't mention that it was ineligible, but that just because it's ineligible doesn't mean it shouldn't have been nominated. That would be my take too. Maybe change the rules.
I mean, like they adjust that all the time now.
Yeah.
Like the percentage.
Yeah.
Of music that is new or not new. So
I'll be curious to see this year what we do with some of these movies. Like I guess Maestro, which big week for Maestro, Joyce. The trailer came out. It's a New York Film Festival as well. Seemingly the music is just going to be pre-existing Leonard Bernstein music. So I doubt it would be.
They did the Mahler in teaser. So I guess conducted by Lydia Tarr. I don't know.
Yeah. Precious little Lydia Tarr in the Maestro trailer, but maybe in the second one they'll have a little more of her.
It was just a teaser, so
yeah. Can't wait to see how she fits into the Bernstein cinematic universe.
It'll definitely be the post-credits scene.
Yeah.
So
it's gonna be Sam Jackson. She's gonna be the Sam Jackson of the Bernstein cinematic universe.
Yeah, he survived Secret Invasion, so he can do this now.
Did he?
I mean, like
I didn't watch it. That's what I was literally asking.
He went to space.
Oh, back in space.
Back in space.
Sure.
You didn't watch the finale? Rough.
Didn't watch the finale. Didn't watch the second episode. Didn't watch the third episode.
I caught up to it. And then, no.
If you would have told me 2 years ago that I would be so out on a lot of the Marvel product that I just would not finish some of their shows, I would not have believed you, but such is life. I'm excited for Loki, though, to come back.
Always excited for Loki. I went to McDonald's on Monday to get the Loki sauce.
How was it?
So I don't usually get sweet and sour sauce, so I haven't had sweet and sour in a while. Mm-hmm. So it's just, I think it's just the sweet and sour sauce, and I just put the Loki name on it.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so I don't know, but like my friend tried it and he thinks it's just thicker, but like I don't know. I guess I need like a regular McDonald's sweet and sour sauce to compare.
Maybe you could save.
I have one another one because
then when they go back to the regular ones.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited for Loki, but yes, same. It's like they've just kind of in phase 5 was not the best for them, and then the Secret Invasion storyline could have been something really interesting, and then it wasn't, and then they just like completely retconned Rhodey's story, and then they gave every single fucking power to Emilia Clarke.
So I did see all of this because I read about it, even though I didn't watch it. So I guess I'm still interested in that aspect. I feel like one of the things that I've been disappointed with the Phase 5, and what it was Phase 4 Eternals, so Phase 4 too.
Yeah, because Phase 5 started with a Quantumania.
Okay, so the thing I've been disappointed with Phase 4 and 5 is that it felt like in the first phase, a lot of the stuff they set up was good, and they were able to just push away, kind of hand wave away the shit that didn't work. And this last two phases, these giant things within the realm of the cinematic universe happen, and then they're
Like ignored.
dropped.
Yeah.
So it's like Eternals, like it's like the stuff that happens in Eternals should be like as big as the blip, basically. There's a giant
Right, there's like a hand like sticking out in Earth.
So to say nothing of the fact that they probably messed with the gravitational rotation of the planet, and also have caused just annihilating tsunamis and like wiped out half of the world. Doesn't matter. I've never talked about it again. And like giving all the powers to Emilia Clarke's character, I have no problem with that if they want to do that. But now they have to reckon with the fact that this character has all these powers, and I don't get the sense that they will at all, because she's not a main character and certainly not like a factor.
No, she just at the end of the show, she goes off with Olivia Colman because like Olivia's like, let's like work together, and like that's it. Olivia Colman was the best part of the show,
obviously.
Of course.
I mean, maybe Thunderbolts when Lee Sung-jin and Jake Schreier could get back to it in 5 months, they'll add her in.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, you know, she just wanted to be in a she wanted to play a Marvel villain. I wouldn't say she was like a villain here, but she was a lot of fun. She's the best part. She had wonderful card music. Her character.
It was great.
Yeah.
It's still like the thing that's good about Marvel is they could still put like Olivia Colman and Sam Jackson together in a scene, and it's good. But like the stories have just
like it's just like they've set up like all these different chess pieces, like you were saying, and like they have not returned to them. And then like some of the stuff has just been sloppy, like Love and Thunder. You know, Multiverse was like a lot of stuff happening.
I mean, Multiverse I liked, actually.
Yeah, I like that more than Love and Thunder, just a lot. But then, you know, like Scarlet Witch, Quantumania was like messy, really messy. I like Guardians 3. That was a good wrap up. Yeah, really good wrap up. Because that they're also like separate from the rest. So it's easier.
It was quite good. Guardians 3 was like really good. Definitely their best.
Miss Marvel was cute. So but yeah, like all this other stuff, like they just like plant these pieces, and it's like we never know like when they're gonna return to them. It's like we have like Charlize Theron here now with Harry Styles. And like what's going on with Blade? Blade will never happen. Sorry to Mahershala.
It feels like Blade is gonna get lost in this mob, the strikes, and it's been delayed before them. I don't know.
And that's like nothing to say of like, you know, the Jonathan Majors stuff either. So it's like, I don't know.
Not a great time.
How we got on this, but
I don't either. We talked about Loki, the sauce, and we were talking about I don't know. Just to go wrap up. We'll just, if you want to email us at anything really.
Everyone already stopped listening to this part.
No, this has been great. This has been great. Slugfest@goldderby.com. We'll come back and do Emmys again next week, so you can send us more Emmy questions.
It'll be in the middle of voting. Voting will still be happening.
So vote away and tell us why. If you're a voter and you don't mind being anonymous, tell us why you're voting for something.
I mean, I know like some voters, but they only get to vote in programs, so it's unhelpful.
Yeah, if you're a voter, email us and tell us why you voted for what. I'd love to hear it. We'll keep you anonymous. All right. Talk to you later, Joyce. Bye.